These are the samples you sent for us to test in a slow speed machine. And some of them will be no problem to run, and others, it's just too hard for this machine. So I'm going to just kind of bring you through each of the different purge that you sent to us and show them one by one which ones will work and which ones will not work. And I just, right in the beginning, I could take your first sample here. These won't work in this machine. These have to go through a shredder to make these things work. It's just too hard for a slow speed machine. We need to go through a machine like this, which is actually a lump shredder, which you just drop it in, and this is a shredder on top, and then it receives the material on the bottom. Or you can get more sophisticated and go with a shredder granulator unit, which is right here, shredder on top, granulator on the bottom for it. So that's what people would use for it. But I'm going to show you which ones would work in the slow speed machine here and which ones will not work. So I'm going to start the machine and then start taking you through the test. Our first test is going to be your PVC, kind of a stringy type of product here. I'm just going to take some of this material and throw it in, just kind of show you how it works in this unit. To turn on the unit, you just press the blue button, which checks all the safeties, and then she starts to run. That's what the rotor's going to look like. So I'll just start throwing a few of the pieces in there. I'm using a 10mm screen for your test. Not having any problems with the smaller ones. I'm putting in more of a kind of rounded. This might be a little more difficult. Again, it has no problem chewing through that block. I'll put another one in there. This will be your brown color. So I'm going to put this stuff through and we'll show you how that works in there. In normal operations, we'd have this screen down, but I leave it up just so we can see the test. But as you can see, this machine's going to be no problem with this type of line. So I'm going to stop the video, open it up, and show what the material looks like on the inside. We used a 10mm screen for your test, and this was no problem at all, this material. So as far as looking at the test and the material, this 5.5 horsepower unit would work fine for your application. You can actually go to a smaller screen too. We use a 10mm, and when you go to a smaller, you won't get as many of these longs in your process. So we're going to bag this up and send it back as a result, and then we're going to start on your next test. All right, next thing we run is your polyethylene. So we're going to open this bag up, and I'll start the machine, and then we'll start it rolling. I'm going to roll this in there first. These kind of melded together, so it may be difficult. I'll try this guy. Break it apart. So this is a good piece right here. See what she does. big, she's got to cut herself down a little bit to actually fit into the rotor area. But as you see, as she cuts herself down, she fits well into the rotor area. But that wasn't quite a sizable piece that we put in there. But she's making her way through it, and we'll follow the whole test so you can see her get destroyed. So big she's nesting on the top. What I'm doing is I'm gonna put another piece in. Well, she's moving around again. There you go. She's getting some big bites there. Probably doing a piece because it took a while to process her through, but once she bit herself down to a small enough piece, had no problem. So if you can control the size of your purge, it'll be no problem at all for you. Let's see one more piece. You got some of this red right here and white right here. What I'll do is I'll throw the red in there and just see how she goes through. This is a thicker, chunkier piece. This red here is probably maybe the biggest you're gonna get, the hardest. The unit had no problem at all with that piece. Just took it into the chamber. She took it right against the stator knife on the left-hand side and just broke her up. So no problem at all with that piece. This piece is just too large for the mouth of this unit. It just won't work very well. It bounces all over. I'll try another one of these guys in there. Again, no problem with this material. What I'll do is I'm going to let it process through. I'm going to show you what the test material looks like. All right, here is your test results. That went really well. And your particle size, nice. This is really well done, this test. And the machine had no problem with this. Just the first piece was kind of too big and had to just nibble its way to get small enough to fit into the chamber on it. But overall, no problems at all as far as getting rid of the purges. And if you keep the purges down in size a little bit so it can fit onto the rotor really well, this machine just gobbles it up without any issues. All right, we're on to your third bag. It's a polypropylene bag, and we're going to run these parts. Some of them are just too thick. We'll try them, but I think some are just too thick to make it through the machine. And we'll just see what happens on it. So I'm going to turn her on. Safety first. Now she's ready to go. So we'll do this. You sent us a little part. We just want to show you what the parts will do. No problem gobbling up your parts. We're now going to do this brown patty. It's kind of a pancake size. show you what it looks like. The machine had no problem with the brown patty. We're gonna run this guy next, and some of these yellow ones are just, this is too thick of a ball to get in there. But we'll run this guy next, this Purge. Had no problem with that Purge at all. They sent in maybe this guy is going to be tough. So she's kind of hardened on the outside there. We'll throw it through and see what happens. With this type of machine, the worst thing that could happen is the motor amps up and just stops. It's not like a high speed where you're gonna break the knives and break the machine or break the belts. It just basically will amp up and just turn off on you. That's the worst thing that could happen. I'm gonna drop this guy in. The machine had no problem with that part at all. I'm gonna let it run through this, and I'm gonna show you what the materials look like. Yeah. So here's the test material from the third test. Had no issues with this. We even put in the thick ones you had without any problems. So we're gonna bag this up and send it to you. The other two, I'm gonna have a separate cut of the other two materials. They're just too hard to use this machine. You really have to use a shredder.
Material first?
This is the polystyrene one. This stuff's just too heavy. I just want to show you an example. I mean, that stuff has to go through a shredder, one of these units here, for it to work. It's just too hard a material. Where if I drop this stuff that you got, watch this. It's nowhere near the same type of material. And then you have some of these clogs like this. This would be the same thing. It doesn't break. So these two bags, and yeah, and this one we could cut down. If we ran this, we just cut this into pieces, and the machine would run this without any problems. It's these two bags here. We just can't make it work at this machine. You really have to go for a shredder for this type of material.